And welcome back to Sullivan's Backstage Pass. I'm here with Duffy and Chris. Duffy, Chris, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
So you all have this amazing career in blues. And one of the things that I first want to talk about is what prompted that genre in the first place? What was it about the blues that roped you all in?
It feels so good to sing. Um, if you're sad, it feels good to sing it. If you're happy, it feels good to sing it. And it's rich with stories. Uh, Blues is just it's meaty.
Yeah.
And both of us were in many bands and configurations before
Yeah.
we got together and started doing blues. But every one of them, whether it's top 40 or country or rock, all has, most of it is based on blues.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, that's one of those things where I discovered the blues a few years ago, what inspired me most about the blues in general was just how much influence it had on all of the other music that I listened to up until then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's where that came from.
exactly.
Uh-huh. So if you're thinking about your life in music, do you remember when you started to sort of go down this journey in the first place?
I always loved music. I used to sit on my swing set and make up songs, when I was a little kid. My mom would sing around the house, and I don't know, it was always a part of my life, and I think it was a part of yours, wasn't it? I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. I have an older sister and an older brother. And my parents also had great
music.
taste in music. I mean, I remember there were Odetta albums around and Harry Belafonte and all this great stuff. And then my sister, I was probably 5 years old. She got her first Beatles album, introducing the Beatles, and that blew me away. And then my brother brought home Muddy Waters and Bob Dylan and
Yeah.
all this stuff, and so
Yeah.
we were very lucky.
Tremendously. Yeah, I just think back when I started playing guitar in 5th grade, and we'd go down to, or another gal friend and myself would go down to, or our mothers would drive us down to Davis to a guitar teacher. And she knew a lot of old blues, a lot of old country blues, um, just all this obscure stuff that was new to us. And of course, we quickly became introduced to Dylan and Joan Baez and Lead Belly and Odetta. And it just, for me, in every kind of music, I've always found something that I like. You'll meet people who go, "Oh, I don't like country," or "I don't like classical," or whatever. It's like, if you listen to it, there's something for everybody in those music forms. So I don't know.
And I appreciate that too, right? Because I'm a firm believer is there's no such thing as a bad song. It's just a song you like or you may not like. Somebody is going to
That's
like it.
true.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's true.
That's exactly right.
Uh-huh.
And,
Do you? Go ahead. Sorry.
well, I was just going to say, songs that in my youth I used to like say, "Oh, that's pap, that's
Or corny or
ridiculous,"
whatever.
and now I listen to it. Oh, man, that's a good song.
Yeah.
And that's a good artist.
Yeah, as a kid, I'd listen. Mom had played Perry Como, and I'd go, "Oh, what's up with that guy?" And now I listen to him, and I go,
Yeah,
he had this incredible, perfect voice, and just sang a song straight through it. you grow to love people for different talents that they have. Where some are immediately visceral, like the first time I heard Mahalia Jackson, and I just went, ah, it's it doesn't even matter what somebody's singing when they sing it in a way that just gets inside you and touches you. It's
And if you leave yourself open to that, the amount of
yeah,
music that you can enjoy, it's just sometimes
absolutely.
comes out of left field. Do you remember the first guitar you picked up?
My first guitar was a 6-string nylon guitar from Sears, no name really on it. And my parents bought it for me, and I loved that guitar. I wish I'd never gotten rid of that guitar because um, I halted my progress by changing to a 12-string, a Martin 12-string, which I never had the strength or the ability to play. And I think I did myself a great disservice. I had a friend that had one, and I thought, oh, that's the way to go. But
Twice as many strings, it's
twice
got to
as,
be twice as good.
and they're extra hard to play.
I can't
But
even wrap my head around playing with 12 strings. Go ahead, Chris.
what was your first guitar?
Well, the first guitar that I played was my brother's Gibson, and I forget
Ooh,
the model number, but it was cool. And he taught me my first chords and
yeah,
taught me how to play "Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man" and "Blowing in the Wind" and
yeah,
stuff like that.
so cool.
And
Yeah.
and do you remember like the first band that you all were in?
Go ahead. You start with yours
All
because you
right,
got some good names.
yeah. Um, well, I remember when I was, I think, 13, me and my friend Richard Wright, because I had gotten a guitar. I told him, I said, "Okay, Richard, you got to get a bass, and then we'll start a band." And we found a drummer uh, as well, our age, and um, we learned. I don't know. I can't imagine we knew more than 10 songs, and somehow we got a gig at a Black Angus Steakhouse in downtown Jacksonville, and got one of our dads to drive us down there. And I guess we just played the same songs over and over again. And I'm sure that we were terrible. And I think it was called Music Machine.
That's what you named it?
I think that was the name of it. And I, I think we got $5 each. And from that point on, I said, "Well, I'm a professional musician.
Yeah.
That's all I need."
One of the best parts of this, though, is Richard Wright lives in Jacksonville. And since we moved back, we've done gigs with Richard.
Yeah.
So it's really a lovely thing.
Yeah.
He made music his life, and we made music our life. And hopefully we all got better.
How
But
cool is that to like play
it
again
is.
with the band you started? That's got to be a
Yeah.
trippy experience.
Yeah.
It's great.
It
It's
is.
great.
And how about you, Duffy? What was the first band
Well,
you were in?
my first band that I put together was with some other gals in 6th grade, and we named it the Effervescence. And then
Wow.
I know. And then I looked up in the dictionary, and it said that it could mean a bubbling laxative. And I went, that's not a good name. So,
Well, it could be. It depends. Could be a good thing.
Oh,
but
that's
my
great.
first, what?
That's great.
Oh, and then I'd sit in with other people who had bands in my hometown of Woodland, and then I got to college, and my first band that I got into was called Coda, and it was an 11-piece band that had horns and keyboards, and we did a lot of Oh, like Chicago, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Chase, uh, Sons of Chaplin, that sort of thing. And of
Lydia Pence.
Lydia Pence, and of course, I was in love with Janice at that point, so I would do some of her stuff. But then I got into a more rock-based group that did more. I was crazy about Bowie and, Rod Stewart, Mick Jagger, and all those bands that had not only a rockin' edge, but they went, they had a lot of blues in them, and they also had a lot of theater in them. And theater was
Glam rock.
Glam rock. Well, the Kinks, they sounded like an old time British band, skiffly sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I adored them because I loved their lyrics and just everything they did. There was so much to listen to. We were talking about just any station that you turned on, you'd hear Ray Charles, you'd hear Conway Twitty, you'd hear Aretha, you'd hear the Stones, you'd hear the Who,
Archies.
the Archies. Yeah,
all on the same station.
All that stuff that everybody just went, this is so great. It was like Pandora's box, just filled. So many things to help influence, And of course, Dylan, what can I say? He's the master poet and the hippest, and has a million voices. You go through his career and just his willingness to try different things with his singing and his music, and to get booed and still go, yeah, I'm going to do this whether you guys want me to or not. It's I don't know.
My next question is about performance piece, right? So what is it about performing live that keeps you coming up on stage? What do you enjoy most about performing in front of people?
Performing live is being alive. There's nothing like hearing a band in an intimate situation. That's another thing, like any more great big concerts, I want to be somewhere close and not crushed, but somewhere close where I can see the person that I'm so amazed by, because there's so much more than just singing or playing a song. It's watching everything they do. You can see them thinking and feeling. And I know for me, I always want to sing a song that means something, that has a story that touches somebody. I feel like music is a very healing process for both the performer and people who go to hear it. And it seems like we need it more and more. So
yeah, it's the connection.
It is.
It's with people. And I tell you, live music is what's going to save the world, because,
it's
very soon we won't know what's real and what's not real.
You can still tell, but Chris.
When a live performance, there's, that's bona fide, real person, real people interacting, and
yeah, nobody can make mistakes like real people.
That's right.
At the same time, though,
AI stuff.
AI can make plenty of mistakes, but
but they're cringy. I mean, it's uncomfortable.
At the same time, though, it's the imperfections and the quote unquote mistakes in live music that makes my music special.
That's right.
I love going to
Absolutely.
live performances because you never get the same performance twice.
Yep.
So
Yep.
a lot of our audience is people with disabilities, and we would love to get up and dance, but a lot of us don't have the ability. From an artist's perspective, what are some of the things you're looking for from the audience that lets you know that they're getting into your music and maybe they don't have the ability to go dance?
Right. Well, we've been fortunate enough to have people in wheelchairs and on crutches and whatever dance to our stuff because we're we kind of just embrace it all, you know. And now that we're older, we're going to have a lot more people that, you know, they come and they want to they want to get up and be a part of it. And it's, you know,
What I like to see is somebody, an audience, you know, that I can look in the eye and you know that you're making a connection, that somebody's listening.
yeah.
And that doesn't, you know, that doesn't always happen in, you know, it depends on the venue.
Yeah.
Some venues are not conducive for listening. And that could be frustrating for the
To a performer.
artist
Yeah.
when, you know, there's a lot of talking and it's, you know, you can't really, like if it's table seating, half the audience is going to have their back to you, you know, because they're
Unless,
sitting
yeah.
around a table. And of course they're going to talk, which is understandable, but it's tough. So it's really nice when we have a listening audience and where people are, you know, you can tell, you can look them in, you know, look them in the eye and know that you're making a connection. And it doesn't matter if they like it or not, they're listening.
Yeah.
Of
And
course, we hope they like it, you know.
it's always really exciting if you've done a new song a few times and then you see the audience singing the lyrics with you, you know, it's like, ah, it's really so good. Um, and we have a song that I wrote called Monkey Pants that's on one of our CDs. I guess it's on Find Your Way Home. And we worked this one club where all of a sudden we went in one night and all the waitresses were wearing monkey pants. They'd sent away for monkey pants. And then the audience members ordered the monkey pants and it was like it was fun, you know. It's
It was
so
like pajama night.
it was like pajama night. Yeah.
What a cool experience. So,
Uh,
thinking about the venues piece, right? It's something that I ask everybody that comes on our podcast is from a musician's perspective. When you're going to a venue, what is one thing you wish more venues paid attention to that would help you make your music better?
well, a good sound system, no TVs
Yeah.
on,
The
and
TVs are a big one.
And if there's a pool table, it's in the back room.
And not in front of the stage, please.
Yeah, yeah. Which we've played that place.
Yeah. Oh, the best was the place we played up in Bellingham that had one of those golf games, like a full half a room screen of a golf game, and they're hitting it whack into the screen all night.
Yeah, it's where you hit the ball and there's a screen, uh, 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 curtain like 6 feet away from you,
And then it measures.
and so they're actually hitting uh, golf balls into it, and it makes a lot of noise.
So we don't play those places anymore.
And you know,
Oh,
it'd be great if uh, every venue had a sound system, but I certainly understand that that's, you know, not possible all the time. And I know that you know, venues are struggling as much as musicians, you know, and
yeah.
it's really a numbers game, and I understand all that. Um, but you know, nowadays we if club doesn't have a sound system, we'll just hire somebody
Yeah.
to put one up because I'm too old to set up a system and try to run it from the stage. And,
Well, and
you know,
sound people can be on it, the whole time. If
I'm
they
going to
just,
turn off this.
what is that? Turn off the on reactions.
There we
There.
go.
There we go.
And the reason I bring this up is because I think more venues would benefit from having this sort of win-win partnership relationship with musicians,
Yeah.
where because if you as a venue can do a little bit more to make the music sound better, your audience is going to get a better experience. People will come back for more music, and so it's one of those win-win things. And if you're going to be a music venue,
Yeah.
just adding that little bit extra
Yes,
goes a
that's
long way.
very true. And we find there's venues that do have a good sound system, and they consistently book uh, quality music. And so even if people don't know who a particular artist is, they know that it's going to be good because this place always sounds good, and they always have, you know, always book great people. So
Portland's always had some good clubs too. And of course, it's always changing. That happens with clubs. Duff's Garage used to be one of the best places to hear music because they were always very sensitive to having people pay attention to the band. And it was always like a happening thing. Um, where we just, my brain is turning to mush.
Cafe 11
Um, Cafe 11, but
down here in St. Augustine, really nice venue, and
yeah,
they get like bands that are on the road that come in. A lot of great blues bands. Who we just see? Yates McKendry.
oh, good
Have you
show.
ever heard of him?
No.
Excellent.
Young blues guy, probably in his 30s. It was a great show.
His dad plays keyboard with him,
Killer.
and
Yeah.
really good, really good. And we didn't really know who he was, but because it was Cafe 11, we knew it would be good.
And just the month before, we saw Curtis and Ben Rice there, and had a good time messing with old friends. Where was it, though, that we played downtown in Portland that I liked the new place so much?
Oh,
My brain is like
Jack London,
Jack London.
the Jack London Review.
It
That's a
was
nice
really
place.
fun. It
Yeah.
is. And we got done playing our show, and there was a burlesque show on right after that we got to stay and watch. I was very
Which was
happy.
pretty cool. I
It was
like.
really great. There was some wonderful talent. It was great.
So as you guys are getting ready for a live performance, like how important is it to pay attention to like the dynamics and volume when you all are playing?
It's very important, but by this point, I think I always get to play with musicians who are aware of that. I mean, it seems like they all know that, who we
Yeah.
play with, and it just,
It is very important, but that
and we don't play that loud.
and that brings up the thing I was saying before about doing sound from the stage, which some people do it very well. Some people can really do it.
Yeah.
But it's so hard because you can't, you're standing there and you can walk around and that helps a little bit, but it's, when the sound is going out there, you don't really know what's happening. So it's so nice to have a dedicated sound engineer,
Yeah.
even in a small place.
I still spend more of my time out in the audience than I do on stage because I can hear better that way, and I can, have fun jumping around, making friends.
I love that though, right? Because if you take that extra step of like going out into the audience, there's that relationship between you and the audience, that sort of fifth wall, if you will, is broken. And people get a much better experience because like the artist is right there in front of me.
Well, and we're all people. And
Yeah.
I'd always get so nervous. That's why I, a lot of times I'd start from the back and go walk through, and it makes people feel like they're in on a joke. So, it just breaks
Or
down.
not necessarily
Not the
a
joke, but
but
I mean, it's like trying to find
yeah.
Waldo. Where's
I
Waldo?
remember shortly after I met Duffy in 1983,
Yeah.
I was in a group called Cool Ray and the Shades, and we were auditioning new singers because we lost our Cool Ray. And so Duffy came and auditioned. And of course, we went, oh my God, and hired her. And I remember we were playing, we did a few gigs and it was just normal. She was on stage and everything. And then we played this one gig out on
Whidbey.
Whidbey Island, and it was like an American Legion's Hall on New Year's Eve or something like that. And she said, give me an extra mic cord tonight. And so we did, and didn't even think of anything. And then in the middle of one song, she walks out to the audience and jumps up on a table and starts singing it. And the whole band is going,
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I was so happy when cordless mics came along, because I would drag around a couple 100 feet of it, trying not to, trip people.
well, um, so Albert Collins used to do that. And he'd
Yeah.
have a guy trailing behind him, keeping the cord, from getting
I remember.
tangled. And he'd go out in the audience and do all that. And somebody else did that too.
I'm sure, but it was
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
good fun.
When you all are playing, do you normally like start out with a set list, or do you sort of rely on the crowd to sort of determine which direction you're going to go?
I always take a lot of time making a set list, and then we never follow it. It's just like, okay, we're going to start with this tonight. And then we'll get there and go, nah, something else,
Yeah.
or somebody will make a request and it's like, okay, you know. So yeah,
But it's
make
always good to have some kind of outline to go off of.
yeah.
And
Because
that's one of the,
we have lots of songs. So.
Yeah.
and that's one of the things that I love about like musicians that have that sort of, words are hard sometimes. What I'm trying to say is like I love it when you have bands that don't stick to a set list every night, because you don't know what
Yeah.
show it's going to be, and the show is never
Yeah.
going to be the same, which is
Right.
what I crave that.
Yeah.
That's
we've
right.
never, we might do some of the same songs in a set when we go on a tour, but we really change it up because we know that some people are going to come to all the shows, and we can put in things that we know we don't have time for in all of them, so they get to hear them. And spontaneity is good, and humor is good. I think probably because we've never taken ourselves too seriously, and I don't mean that we don't take the music seriously, but we're not like uptight and oh, that guy didn't play that right note. We'd never, it's like, we'd never, that's not something that should even highlight,
Like, I don't know about you, I think we've all gone to concerts, um, you know, big bands, famous bands, and it sounds exactly like the album,
Yeah.
which is impressive. I mean, you got to give it to man.
Steve Miller
they really
sounds
do that.
exactly like his
But
albums.
I'd rather hear, like you were saying earlier, I don't mind hearing some mistakes,
Yeah.
or some, going off on different tangents, and
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat, and
yeah.
Yeah.
and so like in terms of like the live performance piece too, as you're sort of
Yes.
playing, do you all find yourself relying more on the drummer or the bass player to keep time?
Wow, that's a good question.
I'm going to say neither. I rely on you most of the time.
Oh,
But no,
I wouldn't
I
do that.
I have I'm absolutely deaf in one ear from a tumor I had. And so for me, there's a certain thing I have to hear. Otherwise, I can't tell if I'm
Well,
going flat or not.
You're talking about pitch.
I'm talking about pitch, but rhythm too. Um, now, when you get an ideal thing where the person's going to be there no matter what, and all the drummers and bass players we played with have been capable like that. But when you're playing, like in St. Augustine, a lot of people play with a lot of different bands because they're not exclusive.
Not just in St. Augustine,
No,
all
I
over the
know,
all over the world.
I
Yeah,
know, but and we're not playing around as much, so we can't say, well, this will be our drummer all the time, or this will be our bass player all the time. We have people that pretty much are, but it changes. I try to strong arm my way in hopes that they'll pick up how I do a song, because I want certain rhythms and things there.
yeah, but you're flexible, and
I'm flexible.
if
Yeah,
things are different, you
of course.
will change accordingly. So with the drummer and bass player, of course, both of them,
If they play
if they
together,
play
it's the
together,
best.
yeah. And
Yeah.
we've been in circumstances where, like, the drummer will come up to us and go, "Man, you got to get another bass player. This guy's not he plays too much or does whatever," and it's like one of the best rhythm sections I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And I go, "Well, just keep being miserable because it's sounding really
Yeah.
good,"
Yeah.
And I mean, I always say that the bass player kind of drives the bus.
Yeah.
Because, not only do they have, or is the harmony involved in what they're doing, but also the groove and the rhythm.
Yeah.
But it's the two of them. And then we've had bass players go, "Hey man, can you get another drummer?" And sometimes we go, and the drummer might be great, but the two don't get along. Not
Not
personality wise,
just
but just
playing wise.
musically.
Yeah.
And then I go, well, who would you like to play with? And they'll tell me, and I'll see if I can get them. And we do. And I go, yeah, you were right, man.
And that's the most
true.
joyous situation when you've got a band that knows that no matter what happens, it's going to be okay and it's going to be fun. And there's no, you didn't do this, or, it's the older you get, the less you want to deal with any kind of ego.
And that kind of ties
Just
into my
happy
next
ego.
and that kind of ties into my next question, right? Because I want aspiring musicians to understand this more than anything else. How important is it that the musicians that you're going to hire get along with the rest of the band?
It's important. It's very important.
The hang, yeah, I would say the hang is kind of important.
It is.
Especially if you're going to especially if you're going to go on the road. which we don't do as much as we're going into our senior years, but um,
Going
it's
into it, we're
it
in.
really is, and we've been lucky that there were a couple little dust ups between band members, but in general, everybody's gotten along.
Yeah.
And you want to also hire. I always like to hire. When I say hire, I like to get people in bands who are better than me, because why would I want to hire somebody who's not as good as me? So I'd rather get somebody who's better than me. And then you don't really have to, you can talk about direction and stuff like that, but they're professionals and they've studied their whole life and they know what they're doing. So you kind of let them go.
And you come to a rehearsal and everybody just does it.
Yeah.
There's no excuses or blaming or anything else. And always room for ideas. This is
I
beauty.
love it. I love it.
Our cats are named Slim and Slam after
Flynn Gaylord and Slam Stewart.
I love it.
who did Flatfoot Fuji with the Floyd.
Because I always like to say, like, you can tell when a band is on stage performing and they're not getting along. It kind of comes
Yeah.
across in the music.
Yeah.
And like, if you want to be a professional musician, like, keep your ego in check and get along, and it will
Yeah,
do you
absolutely.
so much better in your career.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, but speaking of the Kinks, those two brothers, they'd fist fight on stage.
Well, they would fight a lot, and Ray Davies handed Dave Davies his guitar one night because Dave's guitar wasn't working, and Dave took Ray's guitar and just smashed it to bits.
Oh no!
Yeah, I mean, it's
Loved it.
funny you hear about famous people that didn't get
That
along,
never got along. Yeah.
like Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee.
Yeah.
Supposedly, and they played together for decades. And when they got off stage, they went separate ways. I think they found a way to make it work, and they sure sounded good together.
Fred Mertz and Ethel.
Yeah, right. So you all have recorded. You have all recorded some pretty awesome albums. And one of the things that I like to talk to musicians about is the muse, because I do believe that the muse is sort of a living, breathing thing. So when the muse visits you with a new song idea or a new lyric or a new whatever, how do you capture that? Do you
How
like
do you
write stuff down? Do you record?
I'll write stuff down, or get like some sort of little earworm in my head. I feel like I'm not as great a songwriter as Chris is.
Oh, that's not true at all. But for me, I mean, it could, sometimes the song just comes to you. It's like,
Oh yeah.
it came out of the air and
Yeah.
it's right there. Sometimes it takes, even years to finish something. And I think mainly for, one thing I'd say for songwriters, if they're just starting out, is do it all the time, every day. You can't wait for the muse all the time. You have to, and it's hard.
Yeah.
If you're not, what am I going to write about? Just put something down, write something, and then something might spark something and it will make something creative. But it takes work. It's like, it really, I mean, I don't do it, so I really shouldn't be and telling somebody else to do this, but really every day you should, even, and you're gonna write stuff that ain't so good, but
I've got
it's
books
better than
full of stuff
yeah,
that is not so
yeah.
good. You go back like years and you read stuff that you wrote as lyrics, and I just go, "Oh God,
I mean,
it's
even
so terrible."
Bob Dylan. I remember in Chronicles, Bob Dylan Chronicles, and he wrote. He's a funny guy. He wrote. He gave a bunch of lyrics that he threw out. That he didn't use. They were terrible.
Yeah.
It's like really. And it was funny that he.
Did he share them?
Yeah. I
Well,
thought it was great that he shared them.
That's a very human moment. I mean, that's that's the human mistakes are good. When we were talking about that before, it made me think of when Bob Dylan didn't go to get his Nobel Prize and Patti Smith did, and she
She
forgot
got it for him.
and she forgot the words in the middle, stopped and continued, and it was the most breathtaking version of the song ever.
What song was it?
Oh God. One with a lot of words.
We'll have to look.
All I remember is I wept. It was so beautiful. And she was so humble. And you could tell she was just nervous. And she just got to one place where she went blank. I mean, it was like, and then she stopped and regained her composure and just gave one of the most beautiful performances ever. It was so good. So good.
So if you were to think back on your life in music and all of your performances, was there any sort of like bucket list venues that you were able to play that you never thought you would get to?
Well, we've gotten to play a lot of wonderful venues. As far as bucket lists, I had always hoped we'd get on David Letterman. That's like
Too late now.
too
Too
late
late
now.
now.
But maybe I could
Now
go.
we can't get on Colbert either.
No. But
Right?
maybe I could write to David and see if he'd interview us in one of his off shows.
There you go.
My
next guest needs no introduction. Yeah.
My next guest is totally unknown.
But
I'd love to play Carnegie Hall.
How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice.
Well, I thought you were going to say, go down this street and that street. So,
I thought it was pretty cool that we got to play in Vienna
yeah,
for 5 months
yeah.
with the tent show. That was a blast.
Yeah, it was.
I would imagine the crowds in Vienna are a little bit different than the crowds in the States, right?
They are.
They are.
They are.
But once you win them over, they love you to pieces. It's just hard knowing if they love you that way. And I remember we did, hey, everybody, let's have some fun. You only live when dead, you're done. And they're all clapping on the one. And so it was okay. We got through it.
But it was a great experience.
Oh, tremendous.
It was the band was from Poland. They were all Polish players.
They were incredible.
Fantastic musicians. They were like in Poland, they were like
jazz musicians,
the
classical musicians,
top of the heap, but they could make more money in playing in Vienna than
in the tent show. Yeah, incredible though. They could play anything.
So let me ask you this. So I'll start with Chris. Chris, what do you love about watching Duffy on stage?
Well, it's always I always get a big smile on my face because she's so wonderful. And really seeing other people react to her is great. And she makes a personal connection with the audience. And years after the fact, like, we'll see somebody that we haven't seen in 30 years. We might not necessarily remember them, but they'll come up to Duffy and says, "Oh, do you remember you? I met my husband at your gig, and you came over and you sat in our laps and sang uh, whatever song to us. And do you remember that?" And Duffy goes, "Sure, I do." But it really meant something to these people, and after all those years, that they still remember it, and so that's pretty incredible.
Well, that has been the payback for us. I think most people, when you're young, you think, "Oh, I'm going to get out there, and who knows, I might go to the big show." Um, and you keep going, "Okay, well, maybe," and you start realizing there's other things that are more important. Um, like somebody will come up and say, "You got me through one of the hardest times in my life," and that's important. People bring their children to see you, and those children grow up and bring their children, and that's important. And the musicians you meet along the way, all the people you meet along the way, that's the big payback. It's worth more than anything else you could ask for. Um, and I think that super kind of fame becomes less attractive the older you get. For me, I'm such a private person, and to know that nobody's ever going to bother me if I walk down the street. Whereas if you're somebody like Taylor Swift, my God, that's your
Although she does get bothered when she walks down the street.
that's what I mean. It's like,
No, you
no.
get sure you do. I mean, there's if we're out with friends, where'd Duffy go? Oh, somebody grabbed her and they're talking.
That's just friends that you're talking to. That's not the same thing.
Audience.
I mean, it must be really difficult when somebody has to make sure that they've got protecting bodyguards with them and things. Um, they can't just go walk on a beach or, so I'm pretty happy. I don't know about you. I think we're really fortunate to have played music all these years. And
I like when a 40-something-year-old comes up and says, "Man, I used to see you when I was a kid. My grandmother used to bring me to see you guys."
You go, "Thanks."
Wow.
I don't know how to react to that.
Yeah. Actually, it's
No, I
great.
love it. And I love it when a 20-something will come up and say, "I really love that song.
Yeah.
And wow, your outfit is so weird." And it's, I mean, it's really nice. And it's nice to know that people can still connect at different ages, and that you're still relevant and you have something to offer. I mean, so, we've done fine. We're, knock on wood.
And then the follow-up question is for you, Duffy. What do you love about playing on stage with Chris?
I love everything about Chris. First of all, as a guitar player, he can go seamlessly from a blues to a show tune to whatever, and he's always playing beautiful, well, his solos always amaze me because they're just choice. And he's really fun to mess with. I mean, You know, he's a former theater person that, so I can really mess with him and try to get him to smile and all.
Yeah,
We do a lot of theatrical stuff
we
together.
do. I mean, the thing in Vienna was theatrical, and
Yeah.
Teatro Zanzani that
Yeah.
we did for several years in San Francisco and Seattle was very theatrical. And we've done what was called it's a Guitar Outlaw Christmas Chorale in Seattle with Carl Sander, who co-wrote it co-wrote a tavern opera with me, and then did this Christmas show for over 30 years, for like 34 years in Seattle. He decided to stop doing it just because it was uh, a lot of work. So I decided to do it down here in St. Augustine.
We got all
Did
the
it for the
people
first
together.
time last Christmas. It was a success. We're doing it again this year, doing a couple nights this year. So we're continuing the theatrical tradition.
It's so
It's
fun.
kind of just a goofy Christmas show. It's like,
It's a bunch of old people doing a pageant.
yeah, it's like a Christmas pageant, like a grade school Christmas pageant, except with seasoned performers.
That's a very polite way to say it.
But that sounds like so much fun.
It
It
is.
is. It was so funny. At one point, there's a cardboard Christmas tree that I made, and we put a step stool behind it, and the angel walks up, and she's on top of the tree. And you would have thought it was like a big movie thing. All the people in the audience went, "Look, the angel is on top of the tree." It brought us great joy.
No AI was used.
No,
to make
no,
that.
definitely not.
And something else I'm curious about too, because no two artists record the same way. So when you put albums together, are you the kind of band that likes to record separate tracks, or do you prefer to record like as a band live and then tweak it along the way?
We've done both.
Live is really something we enjoy.
The first album that we did it pretty much completely live was Ooh Wee, and it's produced by Terry Robb in Portland, and it was so much fun. We didn't even wear headphones.
Yeah.
We're just in a room playing, and he did such a great job of miking, and and we just did like 2 or 3 takes of each song, no overdub solos, just as it was, and I think it sounded really good. I'm definitely proud of that album.
I like them all.
Many times,
They're all
the
different.
last album, we try to do the body, definitely the bass drums, guitar, although guitar can be, you can say that it could be a scratch track, or if it's good, leave it. The vocals might be, Duffy will always do a scratch vocals that sometimes we'll keep, but she might like to redo them, but pretty much always the bass and the drums will be and I think a lot of people do it that way. We don't not crazy about using a click track.
I can't.
And that proves frustrating to some engineers, because you say, okay, I want to put this part on. They go, well, it would have been a lot easier if you used a click track, but
we like the music to breathe.
yeah. I mean, you listen to, even like great swing stuff. And I'm not going to say any particular one because I might be wrong, but where the tempo is not exactly what it was at the beginning, that it ebbs and flows, and
Or you listen to
there's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that.
great blues guys like John Lee Hooker. Can you imagine
Oh,
him
yeah,
trying
yeah,
to
yeah.
use a click
No.
Click
track?
track, no.
Yeah.
And then how about like the communication piece on stage, right? Did that come natural to you? Because you all have like this ability, and you have to as musicians to communicate with each other without using words. Was that something you sort of picked up over time, or was that something that you had in you all sort of like it just came naturally?
I think it comes naturally from playing together. Um,
And I think if you have the right people,
yeah,
it's like our bass player down here,
yeah.
Rusty
He
Springfield,
he watches.
we can,
Yeah,
I can just look at him and he'll
yeah.
kind of know, or he can look at me and
Or the band out west that we play
yeah,
with.
absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
yeah,
Keith Lowe and
yeah. And Kelly,
Bruce Lavin and Kelly Van Camp. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's that's a wonderful thing when you know it's going to be. That's what I was saying. Anything could happen, and you know it's going to still be okay because it's just like okay,
Yeah. And
they can anticipate your mistakes.
the golden rule is always follow the singer, even if the singer is wrong, which they never are. But
Love that.
um, but no, you always follow the singer because and follow the song, So if like sometimes Duffy will be out in the audience and there'll be a kind of a break where it's kind of just grooving along and she's talking, she's doing a rap or something and won't necessarily come in right at the right time because there's a little bit of delay
Yeah,
from, her being out in the audience. And so we will just either look at each other or not. We'll just, if she puts one in a different place, we just change one to that place that she just made it, and nobody notices. It's not, it, it's a good thing.
well, that's the other thing about live music is people are so happy to be hearing somebody they love. They don't care about it necessarily sounding perfect. I mean, as long as you can hear the band and um, then you're happy.
So we've been at this almost an hour now.
Wow.
And so, I know it goes by so fast.
It does.
So this one is for the aspiring musicians out there, because the life of a musician is not the easiest, right? It's a long, hard road. And I want to hear from your perspective, what advice would you give to musicians who are just starting out to keep them from quitting? Because we need them now more than ever.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's so true.
The main thing is don't think that you're going to get famous overnight as an influencer or whatever. I mean, delve into all the things that make you happy. Listen to lots of music. Get people to listen to you when you can. And, I know when we were young, we went to a lot more open mics and you meet new people and listening to a lot of music, you can hear things that you will like and go, I want to have that particular feel in one of my songs that I'm writing, or, um, I want my voice to do maybe a little of that, or I want to learn that guy's approach to guitar so I can use it with mine and make something my own, and I I mean, when we were real young, I mean, I always had other jobs. And I remember when I was going to college, and working at a gas station and working 5 nights a week with a band. Of course, my studying sort of faltered, but, um, you know, it's it's not any sort of shame to have a job so that you can continue to do what you want. Um,
I think that I think really
Pew.
the young musicians today could teach me, you know, with the resources that they have to promote their music, and
Oh, they're so much more savvy
it's yeah.
technologically. I mean,
I you know, and there's so many more ways to make an income,
yeah, that's
you
true.
know, uh,
That's true.
if you know, we don't know how to do it. That's why I say, some kid ought to tell me how to do it.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
but I
that's
just
really
hope
true.
I just hope that and I think they will, because you see on YouTube these kids who are like just fantastic
Yeah.
musicians,
Yeah.
fantastic players, incredible. So it's good to see that there's still people who are learning their instrument
And their craft
and their craft and
and we
really
need
working
them.
hard on
We
that.
need them to save us from
I just hope
AI
that,
generated
yeah, I just hope that,
stuff.
it's not just relying on putting together loops and,
Well,
fashioning things that way without having learned some of the basics.
yeah, but there's people who make entire orchestral things with
Oh, absolutely. That's
loops.
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
it's a
Yeah.
whole new,
Yeah.
you know,
And,
it's evolving. It's
it's
constantly
easy for
evolving.
us to say, oh, when I was a boy, and that was music, and we didn't have any of this AI stuff. But, every new technology has been met with uh, uh, trepidation and fear.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when cassettes came out, the music industry was going, "Oh, it's the end of everything. It's the end of the world. Everybody can record their own music." No,
And now cassettes are back. I love it.
But and I know AI, which I do, it does kind of rankle me a little, but I know, it's just another tool.
Yeah.
It's another thing, and
Yeah.
who knows where it will lead? Hopefully, somewhere good.
Fingers crossed.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So the last question I have is more about you all. Like, where can people go to find your music, to find more information about you?
Our website?
Yeah. A website. I know kids today, websites are not that big a deal, and I'm the worst at keeping up on it, but DuffyBishop.com. Duffy has a Facebook page, Duffy Bishop Music. We do have an Instagram page that I swear next week
We're gonna learn.
I'm going to get a young person to tell me how to use it. But really, we had so much fun during COVID,
Oh God, yeah.
where we're stuck inside. So we learned how to use how to make streaming videos, and we do one every week. And we made these goofy promos,
That were like little movie spots that were
which
pretty silly and fun.
and you can go see some of those goofy spots, which are actually pretty funny. They crack us up anyway. On Duffy Bishop's YouTube channel, go to the Duffy Bishop channel and look for promo, and you'll see these just wacky videos. But yeah, all our, and we just re-released 2 Rhythm Dogs, because back in the day it was Duffy Bishop and the Rhythm Dogs from 84 till 90. We did 2 albums, and last year we released them for streaming. So they're on all the platforms. Dogs Run Cheap and On a Journey. So we encourage people to look those up. All the other albums are, you can find them on our website. And you can go onto YouTube or Spotify or whatever and listen to any of them.
Thank you so much. And I guarantee you all, if you get a chance to see these 2 live on stage, you will not be disappointed. You all are a lot of fun.
Sean, thank you, Sean. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been so fun.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'll end the podcast the way I always end the podcast, folks. Be kind. We all live on the same planet. We breathe the same air, and this place would be just a little bit better if we treated everybody with a little respect and dignity. Chris, Duffy,
Yay.
thank you.